you know, the being covered and you not knowing where you are, just like total silence, just like hearing from them. I mean, like, it was just like, you know, I couldn't believe like that, you know, that they had to go through that. But then after that happened, I then ran into a fellow coworker, and he was like, you know, I have my car here, and I was like, you know, I was like, do you mind, like, you know, let's try and search around, look for people, and you know, get people together that are still walking around. We then did that, and there was just no, you know, we didn't find anybody. So it was getting late, and he's like, all right, I have to, you know, I have to pick up my daughter at school, and he's like, I'll drop you off where you want. So I then went with him that day, and he drove me into the Bronx, that's where he lived, but I lived in Queens at the time. So I said, just take me there, wherever you have to go. I mean, you couldn't even move. I mean, there's just like traffic everywhere. We basically sat there for like hours on end, and it was just like, you know, just like everybody was just besides themselves the whole day, not realizing, you know, what just happened. It was just like, you know, what was really going on. And, you know, basically he then took me into the Bronx. I then was able enough to call my mother from a payphone, and my aunt just happened to be in the Bronx that day, and she then took me home. And, you know, like, as we were going over the bridge, it was like I'm not sure, it was either the Whitestone or the Triborough, I'm not sure, but you kind of looked out into the city. You could see the city to like the right side, and it was just like, you know, the buildings weren't there anymore. It was just like, all you just saw was just smoke. It was just like, and, you know, I was just like lost it, you know. I was just like, unbelievable. I was like, you know, I didn't know how to react. I was just like, you know. I then got home. It was about almost nightfall. I then got home. You know, first time seeing my family. All my neighbors were out. They all knew I was in the building, and they were just like, you know, like just like it was just like the best feeling ever, just to see my family again. You know, it was just like, wow, you know. After that, I then went inside, and I just wanted to be by myself for a little while. I then turned on the TV, and after seeing, like, you know, basically when I think it was about maybe a half hour after, then I turned on the TV, and that's when the World Trade Center 7 fell. You just saw that. I was like, wow. I was like, what is going on here? You know, and then moments after that, I then saw Willie on TV, like covered in, like, I don't know if he had like a fireman's jacket on, but he had like some type of jacket, and like just covered in smoke, and he was like saying how he ran into the building, and he opened up all the doors and this and that, and I was like, wow. I was like, first of all, I was just happy that he was alive, and second of all, I was just like, wow. I was like, he really like saved a lot of lives in that. He did it like, it was like a courageous thing. After that, then basically I was then called by my company the day after, and they were like, well, look, you know, you have to go in and you have to go, you know, back down there. And I was like, wow. I was like, you know, it just happened. I'm like, you know, how do you expect me to go back down? They were like, no, you have to go back. This is your job. You have to do cleanup. You have to talk to the families, and this is what you have to do. So I said, you know what, fine. You know, this is, I felt like it was my responsibility. I said, fine, you know. So I went back to actually then we went to a hall just like this, set up by the company, and they, you know, had all the workers meet and get together, and it was just like great to see everybody who made it out. But like, you know, you just couldn't help but like seeing everybody on TV that you knew that didn't, and just constantly thinking about them, and, you know, it was just like, excuse me, it just, you know, that was just like everybody's, you know, did you see this one? Did you hear from this one? Did you hear from that one? How's this, you know? And that's like basically what that was about. I then got told that, all right, tomorrow go back down to ground zero because you have to do cleanup. I said, all right, you know, I didn't want to. I made it, you know, I said, I don't really feel comfortable going down there yet. I said, there's still a lot of emotional things that I'm going through, but I'll do it to help. You know, that's what I wanted to do. So I then went down there, and they basically blocked off, like from Canal Street all the way down to the water. So like, I don't know, like the equivalent how I could say it, but it was many blocks. And I parked my car. It was late at night. Like I got there around 4 a.m, and it was just like from a place where just like thousands and thousands of people just walking to like nobody on the street. I mean, granted it was 4 o'clock in the morning, but I mean there was like nobody in the street. It was like, so you start walking up Canal, and you just see military people, like just with like it was like a war. Like it was just military people with guns, and with the machine guns, and I'm like, wow, I'm in a war zone. I'm like, this is crazy. I'm like, there was like, that was all it was, just military, blocked off from there on, and all the stores were closed, and as you start walking, then you start seeing the smoke and the soot on the floor, the building's covered with the soot, and it was just like a really eerie feeling. And as you get closer now, you start, like a smell just comes around you, like you just start smelling, and it's like, it kind of smelled like burning flesh, basically. It was just like the smell of burning flesh, just like eerie smell. So like a smell that I'll always like remember, like just like if I, just get a whiff of something, it just like takes me back to that. It's just like, wow. I then got to a meeting point where they had set up on I believe it was like West Broadway, I'm not sure, but like in that area where other rescue helpers from, like actually people from Texas, I recall, were actually there, people from Dallas, and we were there to work with them and get things done. Now you could just like see, like it was just like not a safe place to be. We were not given any masks. We were not given anything to help us. We were just told, just go there, do what you have to do. And basically that's what we did. No questions asked, because it was for the good of people, And basically what you saw, like when I got to the actual site, it was just like, wow, just like, it looked like actually somebody just came and took a bomb and just dropped it on the buildings. It was like nothing there but just scrap metal and, the skeleton of the building, and just like, people like digging through rubble and, actual body bags being, carried out. And I mean, it was just like disgusting. It was terrible. And like just to be there, it was just like, a horrible experience. But you gotta get yourself together and just do it. And so basically, I worked down there day and night, working under with these people, and with no basically no protection, nothing. And we just that's basically what we were told. Just it's fine, just work there. I then would continue to work there for about a month or so, and then that's when I was told that by my company that they would not be needing me anymore. So there was no place to work, and the buildings weren't there, so they had to let you go. And I was just like, wow. I was like, it's like happy, like I was just beside myself, So, and then, took some time off. I looked at things, and like that's when things just hit me. It's like, I don't mean to. Oh, I'm sorry. Like this, I didn't mean to pass this out. Like we also, from the company before they let me go, I then visited with the families of they were like, go see the families of people, and go talk to them. And they basically gave us a check to give them their last paycheck, and it was like, here's here's their paycheck. Just go visit their house, and just what do you want me to say? I mean, here's your. This is who the people. I mean to confuse you. This is who the people who were missing, that that were presumed missing or dead at the time. And I went with another fellow worker, who we went together and we went to visit these families, and they were just beside, just sitting there and in shock. And they would ask you where are they? And I'm like, what could you possibly say to them? It's just like, I'm sorry. That's all you could say to them. It's like, I'm sorry. And it was just terrible. They were just just torn. It was just you really feel for these people. And I got to know these people on a day-to-day. I didn't know their families, so I got to know these people on a day-to-day basis, and they were just they were great. They were just good, hardworking, great people. And now to see their families, it was just total devastation. And that's when the guilt set in, and because I was in charge of where they went, where they were supposed to be that day. And I was just like, well, what if they weren't here? What if they weren't there? And that just put me into a total depression. I just didn't want to be around anybody. I just kind of blame myself, and it was just a tough thing to deal with. And with that, then the post-traumatic stress set in, and now you got to understand where I live in Queens is right by Kennedy Airport. It's right by the airport, so planes are constantly flying over your house all the time. So there'd be days where I would just be sitting in my bed and, hearing sleeping and being woken up out of a dead sleep and just hearing that same noise and just running out of my house, literally, like, you know, just to see, like, if everything was all right. Like, 'cause it was just like, you know, and that happened occasionally, you know, on a random basis, just like, you know, constant reminders and, you know, constantly seeing it on the TV and, you know, and then being let go by my company. It was just like, you know, wow, you know, it was just like, I couldn't believe, you know, how my life just changed in such a short time. I then stayed in contact with some of the families, and, you know, continued to talk to them, and talking to Willie, and then basically I then knew Willie was then, you know, doing like speeches on his own, and he was doing his own agenda. And I also knew there was like an investigation going on. And now people might ask, well, why now am I finally speaking about this and whatnot? And basically, I kind of was like hopeful that the truth would come out about what happened, and, you know, finally at the end of it, we would know like what was the cause of like the buildings collapsing, the hijacking, and, you know, just like I wanted the truth. You know, I felt like I was a victim. I wanted the truth, and I didn't get it. You know, I was just left there to be like, well, this is how it is. So time elapsed, and I lost contact with Willie, but I kind of like, you know, was, you know, thinking about him. I knew like he was doing his speeches and whatnot, and people I would talk to would not, you know how to get in touch with him, which led us to like this the last time that I did see him. He then got my number through a mutual friend, and he called me, and I was just like, he's like, you know, this is, I'm like, no, he's like, it's Willie. I said, get out of here. I said, how are you? I said, you know, I was like, where have you been? What have you been up to? He's like, you know, I want you to come meet with me. I want to see you, and, you know, there's stuff we have to talk about. I said, great. I said, you know, I'm all for it. We then met, and you know, he told me what he was doing, and I said, you know, yeah. I said, you know, I'll help you in your cause, because, you know, I was there with you. I saw what happened, the horror that went on, and it was just, you know, I just wanted to know why, like, what was the cause of this, like, you know, and I felt like I wasn't getting the answers from the right people. So then we met. I met him in Manhattan. We like had like I think you'll see it on the video later, you know, if you haven't seen it already, of us hugging and embracing, and, you know, it was just like a great moment, you know, to finally see him again, and, you know, which led us to this day and me being here, you know. You know, I guess like what we've been told and what they want us to believe, it's like, you know, here it is, just believe it. And I guess most of the people out there are just like, okay, fine, I'll accept that. But I'm glad that there's still people that aren't, that like yourselves and like myself, that just, you know, that aren't satisfied, with the answers that we got. And, you know, and what doesn't matter what they say. It matters how we feel in our heart and what our gut feeling. That's what counts. And usually with your gut feeling, that's what you have to go with. And, you know, I just want to say, you know, thank you for having me here. Thank you for letting me tell my side, you know, of what happened and the story. And, you know, I hope I made, you know, some sense to you. And I just hope we keep, you know, fighting for the truth and finally get to the bottom of this. And then one day we'll know what really happened. So thank you for allowing me to be here.